Dhanyavad, Maharaj.
Dandavat, Dandavat. Rasamoy Pandita. Thank you for the message. I just read it just now. So I understand. Thank you, Pandita. Can you hear? No. Can you hear Devashis?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Yes, we can hear you. Pandita, you cannot hear? Check your speakers.
Devashis can hear?
Yes, Maharaj, yeah.
Aneshwari, did he can hear?
Yes.
Krishna, Krishna, Hare, Hare. And Mahaprabhu of San Jose perhaps is beside Praneshwari. Is this correct? Or is it Mahaprabhu? Oh, it's in Australia.
Yes, in UK.
Because I recognize they have the picture just there behind him to the left. Yeah. Ah, you see, I'm becoming a good detective of some sort. And look, I detect a devotee wearing blue to remind us of Nityananda Prabhu. Wearing blue to remind us of Nityananda Prabhu. Hare Krishna. That's my Pandita Didi. Can you hear? Yes? Okay. And can we hear you? Let us hear a squeak.
Dandavad Maharaj, Dandavad everybody.
That's devotee squeak. Dandavad, Dandavad. And Anjali and Sachi Devidasi, they're not yet connected to audio. And Anjali means Bournemouth Anjali. Yeah. All right. And Sachi, I wonder who Sachi could be. What do you think? But they haven't yet connected to the audio somehow. Maybe they don't know how to press the button. They're on a phone and don't know how to press the button.
Yeah. And Dave.
Look, I've got you as Anjali and Sachi Didi.
Good. And that was
Well done,
Lavanya. Lavanya Mayi, yes. We saw you by our ears.
Oh.
And Vijay Krishna Prabhu.
Hello, Maharaj. Hello, Prabhu.
And how is Lamoy Devidasi?
She's good. She's good, Maharaj. Yeah, she's in the other room. Yeah, sorry.
All right.
She's in the other room downstairs. I'm upstairs. Yeah, she's joining us.
Okay, very good.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yes. But Lavanya, don't leave us, Lavanya. Come and contribute.
Very busy.
We have a subject which is very suitable for you today.
I'm going collecting, Maharaj.
Doing collection.
No, that's why it's very suitable for you.
No, because it's different. Because I'm
the football and the
okay.
boxing.
Okay. Don't tell them.
Sorry.
She's off to play football, and then she's going collecting. All right.
No, I know your subject's very interesting, but I'm going to be in the car listening. I just put Anjali's here visiting.
Okay.
Sachi's just doing the arty, and then she'll come after arty. And I'm going to be in the car, so I will be listening, but just not here. And then on the move.
Lavanya, the last thing we'd want to do is to take you away from your service.
I know you'll never do that because you're listening to you as service.
It will be another service.
All right, safe driving and successful collecting for the benefit of those fortunate souls who are giving.
Yeah.
Dandavat. And so Leela Moy Devidas has joined us from downstairs of Jai Krishna was home. Moy, and all good? Everything going nicely, Leela Moy?
Everything okay, yes.
All right, very good. Right. Well, we're coming together in London, but we're coming together with our Ukrainians. The Bhaktivinoda just came in through the door, so let them.
I'm Ukrainian.
We can be to the sun. Dandavat, Hare Krishna. So please come. Here's one moment. Here's Gurudev's Pushpa Samadhi. You can sit to one side for a second.
No, we don't sit.
No. Let's do, but come and give obeisances. Come.
Yes, but not sit because.
All right, and here's the. Can you see? Is that looking right? Can you see?
Yeah, up a little bit. It's a little bit dark.
Little bit dark. No problem. Jai Shri Gurudev. This is Gurudev's Samadhi Mandir. It has some garland from Gurudev's Samadhi beneath, and this Samadhi came from Jaipur. Hare Krishna. Okay, welcome. Very happy that you got here successfully. Okay. So please look after.
Yes.
Prasadam, chant Hare Krishna, get some rest, and we'll meet each other soon. Okay. Govinda, Govinda. Just arrived from the plane.
From Lviv.
From Lviv, a beautiful old town. If you ever want to go on holiday somewhere, but you don't, you're all devotees. So if you want to go on holiday somewhere, there are devotees in Lviv in Western Ukraine. And it's a beautiful historic place to visit. All right, and devotees are joining us as we had the camera turned the other way to Gurudev's Pushpa Samadhi. Now you know where we're sitting. The mystery has gone. We're sitting in front of Gurudev's Pushpa Samadhi here in Vila Govinda Ashram. It means it's a little bright, so it means it's more difficult for us to see you. So we're going to have to see you by hearing, because we can hear you well. So yes, so Leela Moy Devidasi joined us. Tungarasa Didi joined us also on a sunny day in Norway. So very good. Dandavat Didi. And Tarit Krishna, Prabhu and Maya, they joined us also. Welcome, welcome, and Dandavat. And Ananda Sarupini Devidasi, who I learned. Dandavat. I was told you're an opera singer. Is that right?
Yeah.
I studied singing.
You studied singing. Well, now you know the real purpose of singing. In fact, yesterday or the day before yesterday, we had some devotees come through here, actually from Ukraine, but living in Germany. And the man, he is a singer and a musician. And we offered to teach him the purpose of singing.
Yes, we did. Hare Krishna.
And he was very happy, actually. He was very jolly man. He's an Italian. The husband was Italian. The wife is Ukrainian, living in Germany and visiting devotees in different places. Okay, dear devotees, we've come together. Please let us give our obeisances and let us join together. We're in one place, essentially the West London mat. So we're sitting with Saturday. And Madhu Gopal, who just joined us, we'll let him connect. Madhu Gopal, who just joined us too, Dandavat, Prabhu. So we just actually come together. So let us give obeisances to each other first. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. And Jai Srila Guru Maharaj, founder or charger of Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. And Jai Srila Gurudev, Guru Maharaj is inseparable servitor who developed Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat as the memorial of Srila Guru Maharaj. This is Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. Jai Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. And Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. And Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Rupanuga Guru Bhaga Ki Jai. And all the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari. So this is our family. And what is it a family of? It's a family of service. This is what our family is all about. We are connected in the line of service. Our service, we pray, is going to our Guru, going from his Guru to his Guru, his Guru to his Guru. This way, reaching to Krishna. And those who do puja, then they also know that first we are offering whatever we're offering to Guru, and then basically we are then on behalf of Guru performing the physical aspect, if you like, but of course with our heart as well. But in service, we're offering everything to Guru, and then this way we're offering, he is essentially offering to Krishna by offering to his Guru, etc., etc. And we are offering the incense, etc., in this way. And yes, for those who do puja, then you know that that prasadam then comes down through the Guru Parampara. So it is simultaneously one and different situation. And we'll just add achintya in there before we all try to analyze it too much, blow out our brains and go off to the cinema, because that won't do you any good at all. So what is service? Helping out the community or connecting with divinity. Well, if we have service to help out the community, then it is both. So it depends what service we understand has come to us from our Guru. And essentially, service is what has come to us from our Guru. And if we can understand what they want, what pleases them, what they want of us, then we will engage under their direction. And that may well be, first of all, I should bring up the text of that. First of all, the community means, if we consider it as our devotional community, we will say that certainly we've understood from Gurudev and from Guru Maharaj, but we see Gurudev's very prolific attitude, mentality, wish that the devotees will nourish each other, come together, be with each other, nourish each other. So the devotee community, certainly we understand that Gurudev wants us to help them out. And look at the nature of Gurudev in the preaching field. He was able to nourish the worldwide community of humans from all kinds of backgrounds. Just look at that little booklet, In Search of the Original Source, to catch some mood of Gurudev's, of Gurudev's mood, for you to catch some mood of his mood. And connecting with divinity, yes, when we've got the direction from above, then we are ourselves giving and nourishing others. And as we give, we are also getting nourished. This Guru Maharaj explains to us, and I'm reading two books of Guru Maharaj at the same time right now, so I don't remember, it was in Divine Aspiration or Sermons Volume 1, but it's in one of those two that Guru Maharaj is explaining more or less exactly this, that by nourishing others, then the giver is also nourished. And the general call of Mahaprabhu is to nourish others, to tell others about Krishna. But we must be careful to be properly situated, and it means be careful that what we have collected, that we've, whatever small amount, because we've all collected a small amount, if we ever, really understand the whole picture, whatever we've collected, we want to understand the purity of that and distribute that purity, not to mix it with anything or to change the emphasis, etc. So we must be careful in our hearing, in our understanding, in our devotional service, and then we can pass that on to others. But Guru Maharaj does stress that we must be careful not to pass on any adulterated thing, because that will not be service, it will be disservice. You see how difficult it was and how much energy it took for Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to re-establish what was the purity of Mahaprabhu's teachings after so many generations of adulteration. So we must be also careful to maintain the purity that Srila Saraswati Thakur has given to us. And the wonderful thing about today is we have the books and recordings. We have so many things where we can hear as originally as possible the teachings, the talks of our Guru Varga, our immediate Guru Varga. Well as the not so immediate Guru Varga, Chaitanya Charitamrita. There we have the writings all intact and as it is, coming through the Guru Varga, but we've got Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj's writings, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur's writings, and not to forget the great Krishna Dvaipayan Veda Vyas, who in Badrik Ashram gave the world the Vedas and who gave the world Shukadev Goswami, and Shukadev Goswami, Veda Vyas, selected and chose that he will be the suitable person to give us Srimad Bhagavatam. So these books, they are now all over the world in their millions, as well as in the digital form, essentially freely available for everyone on vedabase.io. Then all of the Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, so many things are there. And on sesmat.com and other places, we've got so many of the contemporary lectures and talks of Srila Govinda Maharaj and Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Govinda Maharaj and Srila Sriram Maharaj. So many of those talks in book form, as well as in audio and video form too. So we want to try to understand what is the message of our masters, and we've been with Gurudev and Guru Maharaj. They know, we know rather, that they want us to share it with others, but to be careful with what we're sharing. So this is the duty of everybody. Mahaprabhu also told, you tell others about Krishna, speak only about Krishna. And when he told about the holy name on his tours, on his travels in India, he said, now you go back to your villages and tell others about Krishna, chant Krishna's name. So this way, like a snowball, India became full of Krishna prema by the grace of the Lord. But as a snowman melts or a snowball melts, then in the course of those generations after the disappearance of the Leela of Mahaprabhu and Nityananda and their Parshads, then so many things happened in that melt, the meltdown. And then Srila Saraswati Thakur came again to establish that. So we need to be careful that we don't be part of any decay of the teachings of our masters. And especially in this age, we have every opportunity to point everyone to hear their teachings, read their books, read in association of devotees as far as possible. And as far as possible, read in association of devotees who have had and got the association of Gurudev and Guru Maharaj. This way, then our reading and our journey onwards will be going safely. And please not to think, oh yes, we are Ragamag, we are not Vidimag. We don't need to do sadhana, we don't need to follow principles. I'm sorry, Gurudev and Guru Maharaj won't give approval. And I've heard directly from Gurudev about one devotee who, taking some, he thought Ragamag activity, Gurudev didn't agree, it is Ragamag, and said clearly, he will have to suffer himself the result of that. So we must be careful about this, not to take lightly what has come as the highest thing from the lotus mouth of Guru Maharaj, the lotus mouth of Gurudev, and Srila Prabhupada and Srila Saraswati Thakur. I am constantly amazed at what is in Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat by the text, but also the purports which are there. And we need to constantly keep ourselves redirected on the straight and narrow by reading in proper measure these books. A little sound from Spain there, from Krishna Mohini Didi. Krishna Mohini Didi, welcome. Yasheshwari Didi, welcome. Very happy to have you with us.
Danda Maharaj, Danda Keshavananda Prabhu, Danda
Jai Yasheshwari Didi, Dandavat, in home joining us today. Very welcome. Jai. And Madhu Gopal looking very smart, Prabhu. Dandavat. Also wearing blue to remind us of Nityananda. Hare Krishna. Yes, Dandavat, Dandavat. Anyway, what is service? Helping out the community or connecting with divinity? Well, from the Vaishnava point of view, the only help is to help people gain sukriti. The only help is to help people come to understand that the center of everything is love, beauty, and charm. And he who is the center of everything is Sri Krishna, reality of the beautiful. So there's no other way of helping out the community. Nothing else in the Vaishnava definition of help will come within the category, within that category. Just to give clothing or this, that, and the other is very external. And as we've been reading here in the morning program, not only recently, today itself, Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Ramananda Samvad, and there we can see, even when so many dharmic and apparently pious devotional activities, when they are rejected by Mahaprabhu, and say, no, this is external, tell me something, this is external. Then when it comes to Jnana Shunya Bhakti, then Mahaprabhu said, okay, this is okay, but say more. In the discussion between Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy. So in the Vaishnava conception, then helping anybody is to help them to come to the central conception and as quickly as possible. We don't have to give a 1 hour talk, 56 minutes of it being about the benefits of yoga, the life hairs of your body, standing hair, or whatever it is. No, not hair. Maybe there's standing on your head. We don't have to give the 56 minutes pandering to that, and then 4 minutes. Oh, by the way, Krishna's God, and this is taking you to God. When we've got a yoga studio full of yogis, we'll first get them to at least listen to us, say, oh, look, we have appreciation for yoga. Yogas come from the East, but then as quickly as possible to get the message to what are the yogis bringing us to? What is the better, best, but in the good department, what is best, more best, bestest, etc., etc. And this we need to bring to Mahaprabhu's teaching as soon as possible, because we do not know who is receptive and who is not receptive. And we know ourselves, we do have experience. Some of those people who are showing very disinterested, but actually they're taking it in. And after 2 weeks, a phone call comes, after 2 months, a phone call comes, and they come. And I can immediately think of some devotees in this category who turned out to be very good devotees, who got connection with our Guru Vaga and who made their whole life successful. Really from people who looking like no interest, literally eating meat, smoking, I mean, all things and looking really not interested, but became devotees. So if we only pander to some temporary thing and say, yes, yes, and you can go from Hatha Yoga to Kundalini Yoga to something else yoga. No, we come straight to tell about the glories of Mahaprabhu as quickly as we can. So this is help. This is helping others, helping ourselves. Hare Krishna. Now, I'm sure Devashish has something up his sleeve because he selected this. But first, let's see. Keshavananda is telling me, no, Devashish first, Devashish first. But I've got Keshavananda beside me here. So let us put him on the spot. He's never short of showing an angle of a jewel.
Hare Krishna.
And he's seen many angles of this jewel of Krishna consciousness and trying to give help and trying to do service, helping in the mood of service. So let's hear from Keshavananda first, and Devashish Prabhu will find many things that both of us, between us, have not covered to continue in a moment or two.
Hare Krishna. So, well, know that this inconceivable substance that through the grace of our Gurudev we've come into contact with is adokshaja. It's unknowable, and therefore Veda. You just have to take what's coming through the lotus mouth of our gurus. It's kind of like prasadam. You can approach the food stuff prasadam, because you can come in so many ways, like, oh, it's vegetarian, or it's this and it's that, or it's healthy, or it's not. But in fact, it isn't any of those things at all. The Guru Maharaj said, no, we don't eat. Actually, we don't eat. When someone came to the mat and said, you're eating, you're just like us, you're eating, you're doing this, you're that. No, we don't eat. We're honoring Maha Prasadam, or we're attempting to go in that line of that kind of mentality and heart. And therefore Guru Maharaj saying, and the whole thing, the answer to the whole thing lies in that. If you can get that right, everything will come right. So, the Vaishnavas are, they follow Jiva Doya, Namruchi, Vaishnav Seva, and Jiva Doya, kindness to the jivas, kindness to the living entities, kindness to everyone and everything. But that has to be kindness in terms of reality, in what is real, kindness in that respect, not kindness as some concoction of the vitiated plane, sometimes said, of the Mayic plane, where we have, which is exactly that, illusory, temporary, and not as we think it is. Sorry, my thoughts are, it's a heavy statement, but it's also a very powerful Saraswati Thakur, sloka, where he says that the neophyte ringing the bell once in the temple has more value in reality than opening 1 million hospitals, distributing so much food, doing all these things. You're like, it's shocking to hear, you can say, that level of understanding of what is real and what is absolutely illusion. We've come into we were hearing the other day that sometimes when the waters of devastation are covering the universe, the Supreme Transcendent Lord likes to float around like a baby sucking on his toes. This is reality. So because
we may not say that to the public community on the first visit.
Hare Krishna, well, maybe not, but in this present company, we can share these things. Well, one devotee in Ukraine, she said, "Oh, I have some problem with some of the Vedic, and I said, "Oh, really? But what part do you have a problem with? Is it where Lord Brahma's meditating and a small pig comes out of his nose and then becomes very huge, and she said, oh, no, not that." I'm like, oh, you're okay with that? Yeah, I'm okay with that. Anyway, it was all resolved happily. And it's not very wonderful, in the words of Srila Vyasadeva. This is not very wonderful. For the Supreme Lord, this is not very wonderful. So that plane is any service to that adokshaja plane coming from our divine masters. It may look like mundane service to the community, or it may not look like that. It can take on any appearance it wants to. And if it's connected with the service of Sri Guru and Vaishnava, however it appears, in the case of Arjuna, it was going and fighting a war. However it appears, if it's connected to reality with an attempt at surrender, then perhaps it's going in that line of service. Otherwise, it may look so wonderful, given so many, and may have some pious merit, but in our terminology of devotional service, no, it wouldn't qualify for that. Wouldn't be in the line of devotion to that transcendent Lord who is revealed through the hearts of his devotees. So anyway, I don't have a lot to say. I'm sure Devashis Prabhu has got a very wonderful and progressive take on this subject. I just sort of went, but anyway.
And I would just like to say that this community of Sadhu Sangha, as Guru Maharaj and Gurudev, you can say they explain, as Rupa Goswami explains also, that we want to be birds of a feather, fly together. We want to be in the association of like-minded devotees who've got the same goal. And this way, it's, this example where we're hearing about, so you don't find it amazing that the Lord appears as a boar out of the nostril of Mahaprabhu. You say, no, I don't find it amazing. But in general public, I mean, how can we talk about such things? But with the sweet, good-hearted devotees who have appreciation for Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, our Guru Vagar, etc., then we take it as normal and happily discuss these things. And this is a great treasure to have such association. So I just mentioned that about our Sadhu Sangha devotional community. And we know that Gurudev is very happy that devotees come together and that we can discuss so many things together and as well share with others. And I think last week we gave a quote from Guru Maharaj where he's saying, and the best friend, more or less he said, and the best friend who is a real friend is one who comes to tell us that the center of everything is love and he is Krishna. So there we get so many guidances from our Guru Vaga that we need to be the friend to all, but careful friends. It's a big responsibility. Anyway, just expressing so happy to be with those who we can talk about, Lord Boar and Lord so many others, Lord Tortoise and others, which otherwise we would really be a little cautious about. Devashis Prabhu, microphone, I'm passing over to you. Grace.
Thank you, Maharaj. Yeah. Actually, there's so many ways of reading that the title of our topic this week, and for me it's a question for each of us. What is service? Is it I'm just helping out the community, the devotee community when I can, I'm doing what I can to help out, or is it actually by doing service we're connecting with the divinity? So this was my kind of the line of my thought, so not to underestimate the value of our service, the value of service that comes to us, and that what a great gift, our blessing that is to receive service from our Gurudev, from the Vaishnavas. That we shouldn't take it in a light way. We shouldn't think that it's just some casual thing. Of course, we're all on our own spiritual journey, and everyone is at a different level of development of that. But ultimately, the aspect of service is integral to our spiritual practice. You know, Krishna mentions that in the Gita, you know, proper, exclusive regard, proper question, and service, sevaya. So service is, you know, never to be dispensed with. And so if we get some service to the Lord by the divine dispensation of the Vaishnavas, we should very carefully hold on to that service and understand what kind of a blessing it is. Not that, oh, I'm coming to the temple because they're poor fellows there, they need some help, and I'm coming and I'm generously giving my help to them so that they can be benefited by, you know, what I'm giving to them. And we see that example. I'm sure that he won't mind me telling this in his Nitya Leela as he is now. But one time when our Judamanya Seva Vikram Prabhu, when he came to Guru Maharaj and bought with him from my perspective anyway, a huge donation, maybe $100,000 or some, like really a huge amount of money, and presented it to Guru Maharaj. And maybe Guru Maharaj saw something, you know, that he was feeling some pride or something that he was giving that. And so Guru Maharaj said, once one great king came to Vrindavan, and he saw Rupa and Sanatan, they're worshipping their deity in a tree. They're keeping their deity in a tree and doing their worship there in the tree. And he began thinking, oh, these great sadhus, I am a rich man. I can help them. I can benefit them. I can build a temple for them to do their worship. While they're doing in a tree, I have so much wealth. I can benefit them. And Guru Maharaj said, as he was thinking in this way, it began to rain. And the rain is coming on the heads of Rupa and Sanatan. But as the king came closer, he could see that it wasn't water that was raining on Rupa and Sanatan, but it was precious gems, diamonds, rubies, emeralds, sapphires. Then the king thought, oh, you see how foolish I am. I am thinking that I can give something to benefit these sadhus, but their lord is Lakshmipati, and he's the husband of the goddess of fortune. Then what will I be able to give? How will I be able to benefit them? So in this way, you know, so from that we can understand that really Krishna is not in need of our service, but we're in need of to give service to Krishna. We need that. We need that. And if we get that, that's a great blessing, a great fortune in our life. So we shouldn't take it in a casual way. Oh yeah, I'm doing. Oh, but next week I'm going here, or next week, today I'm doing this, and I'll do some service when I can, if I can. Okay, that's all right. But if we get some service, we should be almost jealously hold on to that service. When I remember somebody asking Guru Maharaj this question, you know, that he said, oh, Maharaj, how can I control my mind? And Guru Maharaj, you know, kind of in a jovial mood, chuckling, he said, oh, always the same question. And he said, but the answer is this. The answer to controlling the mind is responsible service. If you take a responsibility for some service, that's the way that you control your mind. So that when Maya comes to tempt you with some, you know, glamorous proposal or any kind of proposal, rather than doing service, then you will have to say, no, that sounds great, but at the moment I have my service. I'm responsible for this service, and I can't let my master down. I have to do my service. And by, you know, that steadfast attachment to our service, the mind becomes controlled. And So, and of course, ultimately, our ambition or our goal is to try to enter into the service world. The spiritual world is, after all, cent percent the domain of divine service. And that's what we want. And we're only going to get that if we become cent percent a servant of the Lord, of the Vaishnavas in this life. We have to practice that. And Guru Maharaj has told us very clearly that service in this world is not different to service in that world. It's the same. It's only our perception of it that may be different. But service to the Lord is service to the Lord, whether it's service in our Nitya Leela with the Lord, fully free from all of the encumberments of this Mayic world, or whether it's our attempts to serve even in spite of the encumberment of this Mayic world. In some ways, it's better that, like, here I am, Lord, warts and all. I've come before you. Please accept me. I may be the most rotten, the most fallen, the most unqualified, but I've come to you. Please accept me and give me some service. And, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says in one of his songs, please grant me a little service at your lotus feet. And if you want to give me any payment for that service, let it be more service, and let it be a greater capacity within me to serve more. So really, this is what I was hoping to convey to the devotees, that when we have some service, we should understand what a blessing that is in our life. And even if it's something small, if we can do that constantly, then our future is very great. Not that we just, show up every now and again and do a little bit here. That's okay. But eventually we have to make our life a service life. We have to try to serve in every aspect of our life, whether we're in the temple or outside of the temple or wherever we may be. What does Bhaktivinoda say? He says, whether you live in the forest or whether you live in your home, still you can perform the service of the Lord. And that's really what we want to do. And as Maharaj said right at the beginning, that service really means that which is ordained or instructed to us by our Gurudev. And that means also his representative is the Vaishnavas. Then that's what we want in our life. We want that we have some service, some valuable service. And it may not always be easy or pleasurable, or even the thing that we might want to do most in the world. But whatever it is, however big or however small, or however palatable or unpalatable it may be, service is everything to us. And we should, as Guru Maharaj said, count our lucky stars if we can come in connection with real service. We see people come to the temple sometimes and they put some money in the box. And I've even heard that, they're saying, give £1 to Krishna, it'll come back to you 100-fold. And this is their idea when they're giving that. But they do not know who is Krishna, because Krishna is Lord Hari. And Hari means if he favors you, he's going to take everything away from you. He's not going to give you, riches 100-fold to what you've given to him. Maybe he will if he wants to. But if he really has some feeling for you, then he's going to take everything away, so that your only recourse is to surrender to him. That's not always easy. Sometimes that's very painful, a very painful thing. But, sometimes, they say that's like tough love, isn't it? Sometimes we need some tough love because we're addicted to so many things in this material world. Sometimes we need something to happen to us, to bring us to our senses, to like shake us awake. Come on, wake it up, wake up, wake up. And I just said the other week in my class at the temple that when my kids were younger and we had to wake them up to get them ready for school, sometimes one of them would say, "Dad, I'm having a really important dream here." Like, why are you waking me up? And they're angry with me for that, So, and then, but once they're awake and you say, "And what was your important dream?" They, "Oh, I can't even remember what it was now." So, sometimes the people, they're angry with us when we try to wake them up from Maya, from their, sleeping on the lap of Maya, as they say. When the sadhu comes and says, like, "Wake up, sleeping soul," sometimes we don't like that. No, I have very important things to do in my life. Don't you understand? But as Keshavananda Prabhu said, that's all completely in an illusion. And, we are generally, we give more preference to that. All of our duties in this material world, well, we have to do this, we have to do that, we have all these duties that we have to do. And if we've got some time after that, we may be able to fit in a little bit of Hare Krishna or a little bit of devotional service at the temple but we have our duty in the world and that has to take preference. Well, let me tell you, friends, the exact opposite is the truth, that our real obligation is to the service of the Lord, and everything else is secondary to that. And really, actually, that's the secret of success in life. When you understand that our prime responsibility is to the Lord and his devotees, everything else will fall into place. Whereas if we think that all of these Mayic things that have come in front of us, they're our priority. And then if we have some time, we can fit in some, service to Krishna, service to the Vaishnavas. We've got it backwards. Really, we've got it backwards. We have to understand what our priority is. And it doesn't mean that you have to leave everything else behind. But if it means that you leave everything else behind, so what? What loss is there in that? So, but I'm not advocating that everybody run away from their responsibilities. But really what we're advocating is that rather than running away from the world, we should be running towards Krishna, running towards Gurudev, running towards the Vaishnavas, and, and to devotional service. And if we really understand the value of that, how rare it is to get the service of Krishna, then, we'll never want to give that up for anything else, however so-called important it may be in this material world. And, really, when I'm saying all these things, I'm actually saying it to myself more than anybody else. Try to understand what is your real priority in life, what is your real responsibility in life. Then everything will be okay. And until we do that, we're always going to be suffering in this material world. And who wants that? So there we are. That's what I wanted to say about these things today from that perspective. Thanks everybody for listening to me.
Thank you, Devashis Prabhu, for being you.
I can't be anybody else. I've tried.
Hare Krishna.
They're all taken. All the other people are taken already.
Interesting perspective. Hare Krishna. Would anybody like to give some input that is bursting to come out of you after hearing these topics from Devashis Prabhu, from Keshavananda Prabhu, and a little bit from myself? Anybody has something you'd like to contribute, some aspect that you feel, oh, this is very good? Put up a hand, put up two hands, dance, chant. No hands. Then Pandita, I know you want to say something. Yes, we can see from your expression. Please, let us hear.
Maharaj, I just have a question. It really is about, the the external engagement in service. So very often we actually connect being sort of busy externally with service, and then also having at the same time the internal correct disposition. And I always think about trying to find a balance between those two. It's not, sometimes it seems it requires a little bit of reflection, and it's not always straightforward, because I can show up at the temple and I can be busy, but whether or not really my internal disposition is correct or not, that's another thing that I have to think about. Some of it has already been touched on, but specifically that was on my mind, and I'd love to hear a bit more about that, Maharaj.
Well, just with you speaking and asking like this, Dave, just to rewind to Devashis, he was saying about how the service here, how Guru Maharaj was saying, the service here and the service there. It is service, it is all service. And for those of you who are about to die, 100%. 100%. Okay, 100%. By the way, we noticed yesterday in the car, we were driving, well, we were passengers, we noticed that there are a lot of graveyards in Italy. And then Keshavananda said, oh yeah, I heard that in Italy, 100% of the people die. And I said, oh, astounding. Anyway, so there are a lot of graveyards in Italy. I mean, noticeable. So it really must be, I think, true that 100% of the people die. So anyway, when we die and we are not in the body, then Gurudev has explained on different occasions. On one occasion, it's recorded there in the revealed truth. But Gurudev has talked on other occasions about the living entity when he's not in his body. Actually, two different occasions perhaps are mentioned in revealed truth. About when we're not in our body, when we lose our body. Then at that time, we are going to be very much looking for somebody to help us in this very uncertain circumstance of where I'm about to go. But the service connection which we establish now, this is making our leaving the body simply a change of external circumstance, if you like, but the service continues. So we do want to follow the sadhana, which is helping us to have the perspective of what we're doing and why we are doing it. What are we doing and why are we doing it? Both of those things we need to try to make solid, because in a day or two, we won't have our bodies, but we'll still be at the lotus feet of Guru and say, yes, what can I do? Now, I don't have a Macintosh, I don't have a IBM computer anymore, but I'm here at your service. What can I do? Oh, then I get given a shovel to dig up some jewels in the spiritual world. Who knows what is our service that's waiting for us? But just as in this world, and we've seen service, one day somebody can be doing one service, and then the next day, by Guru or the Vaishnava's wish, they can be doing a completely different service. So according to what we have, then our body we're doing some kind of service. And then another time, we may not even have our body, but another kind of service is coming to us. And so to make this connection while we have this chance to change the course of our life, to make this connection as substantially as possible and to try. This I can say from Gurudev very much. Our trying to do the right thing gets 110 marks out of 100 from Gurudev. So we are trying to do the right thing. And also it is definitely better we go to the temple and do the pot washing or whatever it may be that's being asked of us in the temple than not to go at all. But better is to go to the temple and think, oh, what service will I be given today? And oh, we were also reflecting on one service that I had in the past. And maybe Devashis mentioned just now, it's not that service is what we want to do, but I did have a service under actually a devotee who came and took shelter of Guru Maharaj. And I forgot what his new name was, but he was Ashraya Prabhu. And he was the temple commander in Croom Court in ISKCON in the north of England.
Krishna Prasanna.
Krishna Prasanna Prabhu. Okay, so Krishna Prasanna Prabhu, we're remembering you, because if we're thinking about service we want to do, well, we definitely had to do some service we definitely did not want to do, and had in the morning before Mongol Aarti on several occasions, and Krishna Prasanna Prabhu can back me up on this activity, had to go down into under the ground, into this like a cellar place underground. And there was a bigger than I can show you by my hands, a big pump for the sewage. And that pump would get regularly blocked. And so, as the assistant temple commander, I was honored with that service of going down there, opening it up, unblocking it, and doing all this. So we were thinking, yes, about Ashraya Prabhu, who now Krishna Prasanna Prabhu that time. So whatever is asked of us to do, but still I remember that he, by his good nature and good mood, then, he made this service into a happy service. So, what is required of us to do, maybe in the kitchen, maybe in the sewer, those all come to us. But at least if it's in the sewer, afterwards, bathe, put on clean cloth before coming to the kitchen, please. But this whole idea that we're actually happy to be engaged in service, and we have to understand that what's required of us, we don't know what's going to be required of us tomorrow, but we need to try the best to think what's required of us today and to do it. And to help us, we've got some very strong theme from Guru Maharaj, which is to adjust to the environment. And number two, strong theme from Gurudev, humility, tolerance, giving honor to others, not wanting any honor for oneself. And then to value this service connection, this service opportunity as a very rare opportunity. And happily we will do whatever is required. And really, we look outside. Yesterday we did Harinam Sankirtan, as you are doing every Saturday. We did yesterday, we're doing now every Friday, and we did yesterday in Milan. And it's Fashion Week in Milan, and Milan is full of fashionable people. But
it was when we got there.
Oh yeah, we raised the standard of the fashion with dhotis and kurtas. But really, there's nothing out there. There is nothing out there. And if we don't take shelter of devotional service, only we'll be caught up in that ego world and that world of, I don't know, shallow pretense.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, so let us, as much as possible, learn the mood of Gurudev and Guru Maharaj and do what will please him, which means try to help our devotee communities as we can and as we are asked to do, and according to necessity. What is the necessity today? Maybe chopping vegetables. What's the necessity tomorrow? Maybe unblocking the sewage pump, but we'll accept it all happily. And one good thing about the temple life, necessity every day is service to prasadam. So also a very gracious connection that the Lord has given for the devotees. Hare Krishna. In the meantime, Shyama Malini, now the shade has come, we can see the screen a bit better. Shyama Malini Didi joined us. Subhasini Didi joined us.
Yes.
And
Maharaj,
is showing his form to us.
Dandavas Maharaj, yeah.
Dandavat.
Dandavat.
Bye.
Hare Krishna.
Ça va bien? You, maybe my French wasn't so good after all.
Oh, ça va, oui, ça va bien, merci.
Oh, très bien, très bien. All right. Any last minute short contribution? Yes, Praneshri did is opened her microphone and she's put up a real hand. We saw it.
Dhanavad, Maharaj, Dhanavad. By listening to you all, I understand that service goes both ways. By helping out the community, we're paving the way to connect with divinity, because Seva will open our eyes and will clean our heart, and that will give us that sweet connection. And by connecting through divinity, by engaging in service to Guru and Shastra, we will hanker for Sadhu Sangha. And from that platform, we'll be properly fulfilling our duty of serving the community with the affection and dedication that our beloved Guru did inspires in us, so we can learn to treasure our Seva. So Seva is everything. We need it in our life.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a very beautiful summary.
Yes.
Wonderful. We can put that on the wall. We've got a whole building outside and inside full of good expressions and sayings. At least ethereally we've done that, because we must have made at least 200 framed quotations by now. And I think you just gave us a very good summary of what is this savoring connection with the community. Devashis Prabhu, a last word?
Sir.
That's actually second last word, because Keshavananda was going to say another. Oh, yes. Keshavananda was going to say another last word too, to give us an injection to keep us going for the week.
I'm just happy to be with you all, even although it's just virtual, it's still wonderful. Makes my heart glad to get the opportunity to be with the Vaishnavas in any forum. I'm happy to be here.
Actually, I don't want to disagree with you, but I don't feel so much it is virtual. We really feel, we understand that we're communicating, and Zoom has this capacity. It's not the same as like typing and sending backwards and forwards.
Sure.
I'm so happy to be with the devotees and to know that you're hearing. And maybe we should give a little more opportunity for interaction, but we're here together happily, just as we're in the veranda, in the temple room. Like that. Happily, we're here together. And now for Keshavananda's injection.
Hare Krishna.
Don't tell me there's nothing in the syringe.
Hare Krishna.
Om.
Well,
okay. Om.
Okay, so I just read Guru Maharaj giving a very beautiful definition of bhajan. And he says bhajan means a sincere internal presentation to the higher. A sincere internal presentation to the higher, which I thought was absolutely wonderfully, beautifully perfect, as always, by Guru Maharaj. So, that if we can, I'm praying to try and keep some of that, some sincere internal presentation to the higher through the twists and turns of life. And then perhaps, what I'm doing might be move into the service category, go in that direction anyway, through the grace of Sri Guru and all the Vaishnavas are so happy to see here in West London today. Jai Gurudev.
So what is the quote? We're going to make another frame and put it inside.
Well,
bhajan
means a sincere internal presentation to the higher. Jai Guru Maharaj.
All right. I consider myself injected.
Okay, good. Yeah, but you will need a boost.
Oh, we'll get that next week. All right, dear devotees, let us continue our Sunday. No, our Saturday. Everybody's Saturday. Nobody's Sunday
No
yet.
Australians.
No Australians here.
Right.
Let's see. Let us continue our Saturday. And oh, your savor on Saturday now is Prashadam savor, I do believe. And good to see you, Tare Krishnavu. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Jayanita. And of course, good to see each of you, those of you who are revealing your forms to us, and those who are leaving us your names. We can see you through your names also, happily. All right. So let Keshavananda give the jais this week.
Jai.
Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Deva Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Tempio del Puro Amore Effetto Ki Jai. Oh, sorry, we've just snuck through. We've just snuck through Villa Govinda from London. And Sriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Ki Jai. And Jai Om Vishnu Pad Srila Bhakti Rakak Shidade Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. And
Jai.
Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Vaga Ki Jai. Shri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Govardhana Dham Ki Jai. Shri Nilachala Dham Ki Jai. And all the devotees throughout the world, Ki Jai, all the devotees in Ki Jai, all the devotees in Italy, Ki Jai, all the devotees in the world, Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Ranjan Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Tanishashwat Mat Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari.
Hari Hari.
Jai Devi Ki Jai, and Jai Keshavananda. By all the assembled devotees, Ki Jai Nitai. Go for Premanande Hari
Hari
Hari Hari.
Hari Bol, Madhavasara.
Evacha Patitanam Pavane.
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Dandavad.
Dandavats, Maharaj.
Dandavats. Thank you, Maharaj.
Dandavats, everyone.
Dandavats, everybody.
Lovely to have you with us, each and every one. Jai.